Welcome to episode number 290 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording on November 22nd, 2019. A lot of things to get through this week, including 99 loon balloons. Remember that? Luftballons? Pinball search behavior, hugging holograms, Google Earth tours, books of art, American personalities, organic influencers, Tesla's armor glass, search engine misinformation, technical dystopias, and much, much more. And BL kicks it off with the best story of the week. BL, what do you got?
Well, this is an interesting one because this has been going on for a long time. Google has launched their Loon balloons. Google has a Project Loon that intends to bring internet connectivity to all the areas of the world that don't have it now, and they do it with high altitude balloons. So this past week, they announced that they signed a new deal to use these high altitude Loon balloons to connect rural communities in Peru to the internet. So this is from a Quartz story by Amrita Khalid. And these are solar-powered balloons that act like cell towers. And the Alphabet subsidiary that uses these balloons wants to provide internet to remote regions all over the world. And so it's going to provide service to parts of the Amazon rainforest in Peru. It's not the first time that Loon balloons make their ascent above Peru. They've used them before in natural disasters. So after the magnitude 8 earthquake that struck Peru back in May, crippled their entire infrastructure, Loon dispatched its balloons to connect people on the ground and sent balloons to 3 cities after a big flood hit northern Peru in 2017. It also did this in Puerto Rico following Hurricane Maria. The difference this time is that the Loon balloons will be used as a permanent solution for internet connectivity instead of a temporary fix. So they're tennis court-sized balloons, and they are designed to remain in the air for 150 days at a time, but they've been working on increasing the lifespan. And they broke their own record last summer with a balloon that stayed up and continued to provide connectivity for 223 days. So if their efforts are successful in Peru, it could open the doors to even more remote regions all over the world. The company has a contract in Kenya, and they're waiting final regulatory approval to start there. So back in 2015, there were dueling announcements made by Google and Facebook about their missions to provide universal connectivity to the 2/3 of the world's population that doesn't have internet access. You know, we're so used to the idea that, I mean, we're talking now in Congress, you know, is the internet a utility? And in fact, for us, it is. But 2/3 of the world has no connectivity at all. So Zuckerberg's Project Internet seems to have fizzled out, but Google is clearly moving forward. So this is a really, really cool development.
Very cool. Yeah, if I have to choose between the two, I would definitely come heavily on the side of Google over Facebook, because
Absolutely.
Google they're providing their version of access to the entire web. Facebook, the way they were trying to do it was, in some parts of the world, Facebook is the internet. People make no distinction between Facebook and the rest of the
many parts
internet.
of the world.
Yeah. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it just started this week, so that's really, we have to follow that. And I've been basically following it since the first time they announced it, and, you know, this is the first time anything permanent has come about. So imagine what will happen to Comcast and so on when Google can provide connectivity to us.
Competition is a good thing. It couldn't come soon enough for me.
Yeah, really.
So this is a Google-ish related story. This is by Nielsen Norman Group. They are an organization that they do usability testing, and they have a lot of great content on usability. Back in the day, they used to do a lot of eye tracking studies that they'd publish. They still do eye tracking, but I haven't seen as many heat maps of their eye tracking recently. But this is a great piece on how search behavior is changing. So this is by Kate Morin and Cami Gore of a Nielsen Norman Group. And, when Google or search engines first came out, Google had the traditional, there's 10 links per page of search results. You get the link with the title and a snippet of text below that and a URL, and that's it. 10 links on a page. And now you look at search and there's tons of stuff going on. There's the links. There's also snippets that answer a question based on your search result. There's carousels of videos and of photos. There's a knowledge podcasts now. There's tons of different elements in the search results page compared to where it was when Google first started out. When Google first started out, there was a traditional scanning pattern that people made when they search something. Type something in your keywords in the search, hit search, and then you get the results page, and people would scan in an F pattern. So they'd start at the top of the page, and the pattern of their gaze on the search results basically formed an F pattern. Now that because the search results are evolving and changing rapidly and continuously, that behavior is no longer the standard behavior that people use. Of course, when there's your search results are just a bunch of links, that F pattern will hold true. But now it's a different, you're reacting to the different elements of the page, so that pattern doesn't hold true all the time. And the significance of that is that you used to have to, if you wanted to get the majority of your traffic from search, you had to be in the top 3 results. But now, because of these different elements in search results, that's no longer necessarily true. They did an analysis of 471 queries made by participants in the usability testing and eye tracking studies that they've been conducting between 2017 and 2019. And what they've uncovered is, not surprisingly, given all the different elements on the search results page, that F pattern no longer holds true in most cases. It's more like a pinball pattern. It's kind of all over the place. And they have graphs, we'll put these in the show notes, that show the tracking patterns of of people's eyes as they're scanning through the search results. But some of the noted things in this study is that the visually compelling elements of the search results, like the carousel with the video or with the photos, often attract visibility to the organic results near them. So if you see, for example, a carousel of video YouTube videos way down in the search results, you may get a lot of visibility of links beneath that carousel. So it's directing people's attention to different parts of the search results. Some stats here that they cite: in 2006, their first results on any given result page received 51%. The first results received 51% of the clicks. But now, the first position on the SERP receives only 28% of the clicks, almost half, which is a dramatic change in user behavior. 59% of the clicks were concentrated in the first 3 positions, but lower positions received slightly more clicks than in 2006. So they did eye tracking research in 2010 and found that in 59% of the cases, people didn't look beyond the 3rd result on the page. But in their more recent research, they've found that even the 6th position received looks in 36% of the cases. So it's something, if you're doing search engine optimization or reviewing your own results in search, just because you are not in the top position doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be getting traffic from that. But if you're not on the first page of search results, you probably aren't.
Well, I think people have changed the way they search as well. You can put in a whole long sentence as a question or as something you're looking for. But what happens to me when I come to a search page that I'm looking for and I see like all this content, I end up going into it, and sometimes I forget what I was looking for. But I go into and read a whole lot more than I might have read otherwise, because there's all this stuff there, and I look at videos and I look at pictures. So that's definitely a change from the way things were in the past.
Yeah, and another thing that article points out is that the nature of people's searches determines how they behave on the search results. So if you are searching if you are trying to find a fact, that fact will often be uncovered in the rich snippets on the search results. So you just read it and then bounce wherever because you found out what you wanted. If you're doing research, a product research or research on a topic, you're going to be doing more in-depth discovery. So you'll spend more time in the search results, checking out different aspects of the search results, and learning more about a topic rather than just trying to find into one particular fact. So
Jacob Nielsen was a real internet pioneer. He was really one of the first to take a true academic look at how people were using the internet.
Yep.
And he's accessible. His content is accessible, unlike a lot of other researchers. So I've always followed him.
Yeah,
I've met him. He's an interesting guy. Yeah, I met him at a conference or two. So this is also a way of looking at things. There are now holograms that you can see, feel, and hear, which is in the future, if a hologram of James Dean makes a movie, you'll not only be able to see and hear him, but you can feel him. And you might be able to smell them, considering something that you talked about last time. So this is from a story by Christine Hauser in Futurism. So you'll be able, because researchers from the University of Sussex found a way to make these new holograms that you not only see them and hear them, but you can feel them. And they pulled it off by drawing on some vintage technology. They published a paper on their device. They call it multimodal acoustic trap display, or MAT-D, and it uses low cost and commercially available components, which is really interesting. What it does is it uses ultrasound waves to trap and move a 2 millimeter wide polystyrene bead around in midair, and this traces out an object's shape in 3 dimensions, and LEDs shine red, green, and blue light on it. And this allows the device to produce audible noise as well as physical sensation. So because the bead is moving so fast, you don't see that. You only see the completed shape, which is the hologram. And the new technology takes inspiration from old TVs, which use a single color beam scanning along the screen so quickly that your brain registers it as a single image. The prototype does the same thing using a colored particle that moves so quickly anywhere in a 3D space that the naked eye sees a volumetric image or hologram in midair. Such an interesting development. There's a video demonstrating it that I'll put in the show notes.
I don't understand. What are you feeling?
The presence of this thing.
What?
The presence of it.
I mean, you've got to be touching. If you can feel it, what are you touching?
The air. The hologram.
Doesn't
I'm not
make any
exactly
sense.
sure, but apparently there's some impact of feeling.
Huh. All right, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you have to watch the video. It's really fascinating.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's a little over my head in terms of the tech, but interesting anyway.
All right, well, here's some tech that shouldn't be over anybody's head. This is Google Earth. We're all familiar with Google Earth. It's a standalone product. You can get it as a standalone product, as a software that you download and navigate Google's map technology or Google Maps on your computer. But now they've added the ability, and you were able to do this prior to this new development, but they've made it easy so anybody and non-techies can do it as well. This is from a Verge article by Jay Peters, but now you can create your own tours within Google Earth. So they've got tools on the web that you can use to create a tour. You can set landmarks on Google Maps, basically. Draw lines from place to place, add text, images, video to any point along the way, and then you can save it as an experience that you can share with other people who can go through your tour, your own created tour, step by step. You'll only be able to use the creation tools on the web, but the resulting creation will be viewable in the latest versions of their iOS and Android app. So it looks fascinating. I'm going to try it out. But I can imagine, the applications, tourism organizations would probably be interested in this. Event marketing, thinking of festivals that span a certain geographic location, pub crawls, historic tours, triathlons to go to show the course that people are taking. So there's a lot of marketing applications, but a cool new addition to cool old Google technology.
Yeah, that'll be great for virtual racing. People do these virtual marathons and virtual running. My friend Henry Copeland has a company that's devoted to that. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Oh, like on treadmills?
No, they're running. They map their run. This will be a much more sophisticated tool for them. They're mapping their runs and following a course. Like sometimes the same people, different people are following a similar course, but not together. So they're doing it. They're mapping it virtually. So this will make that much easier.
So they're actual runs they're tracking. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but they're tracking them, virtually.
Okay.
And they set out virtual trips that they take and then track. So this will make that much more fun.
Cool.
So this is a really cool turn of events. You can now find 576 art catalogs and other books that sit alongside 400,000 free images that that went online last year, and by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So this is from an open culture story by Colin Marshall. And if you look at the Met Publications current collection, you have unlimited access to lush and artistically, culturally, and historically varied volumes, African ivory, chess, East and West, past and present, modern design in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, 1890 to 1990, Van Gogh drawings of Art Deco, guides to the museum itself and vintage presentations. It's just a wonderful resource that is free from the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Very cool. I'll check it out. So we've been talking about influencer marketing a lot on the show, and commenting on it's probably jumped the shark. Here's some more fodder for that argument. This is from the Social Media Today article by Megan DeGrutola. And so her article, she cites a bunch of influencer related stories. There's the reality TV stars who are accidentally posting brand instructions in their promotional posts. There's the social media influencer that actually admitted she's a CGI robot. Remember that Lil Michaela? Michaela?
Yeah.
And we talked about this on episode 251, the Payless punking influencers into paying $600 for $20 shoes. And then, of course, 2 documentaries about the Fry Festival. So a lot of things in the influencer marketing world that have gone wrong, disastrously wrong. The article cites a Stackula study that's found that people are 9.8 times more likely to make a purchase after seeing a peer's social post as opposed to that of a social media influencer. And then the article goes on, it's worth a read. The article goes on to make the argument that that the future is about organic influencers. I have a few things I'd take issue with.
The past was about.
That's just what I was going to say. Yeah, it's always been organic. We just call it media relations. It's it's the same practice, basically, but with a different audience. But this kind of talks about this article talks about being organic in terms of understanding who your fans are, organizing them into a community in order to prompt them to take action. It's an interesting read, but it brought me back to my days several years ago when we did a influencer campaign before it was called that for a restaurant, for Punch Pizza, a client, where we had a photo contest with a bunch of professional photographers who were on Flickr and a blogger, and generated a ton of photographic content simply by designing this contest, asking people to participate, and having a lot of, we had like, I think there was $5,000 worth of free pizza coupons that we gave out for several categories of winners. If you have something that's valuable enough for them, and you tap into your existing fans, so these people are passionate about Bunch Pizza, then you're going to have success doing it. Just the dynamics of it, and you'll get original, authentic content. So that's the problem with influencer marketing, is it's not authentic, because it's not. You're paying people to do stuff.
This has a lot to do with why blogging is coming back in a bigger way, because this is your community. Your readers are your community. You are a trusted source. This is just the way people take advice. They take advice from people they trust, and generally from people they know. And way back at the beginning, haven't you done this? I've given lectures about how, people who share your information are your best customers, because they're talking to their friends, and their friends believe them. They don't believe you. Nobody wants to hear from a corporation. They want to hear from friends who dealt with that corporation and know what their experience was. This is the same thing. It really is.
Yeah.
And good for us. So I don't have any more good news.
I have one. I'm just going to cite this briefly. It's a too long must-read article. It's called "The Three Personalities of America." It's by Olga Kazan for The Atlantic, and it's an interesting read. The premise of the article is that there are people in different regions of the U.S. have measurably different psychological profiles. So BL, you're a New Yorker. New Yorkers are always in a hurry, right?
We sure are. Get out of our way.
You talk bluntly to people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Minnesotans were exceedingly nice. We have the Minnesota nice thing going on.
Yeah.
Right? But this is an interesting and persuasive article because it cites researchers who have done research, and basically based on their results, identified three areas in the United States that have distinct personalities according to the Ocean psychological profiling methodology: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion. What's the A? I can't remember what the A one. And neuroticism.
Assertiveness, maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, they use that methodology to psychologically profile regions, and so it's just good read. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. For marketing people, understanding the psychology of a given region is probably an important thing to have insight into.
What an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, but are all Minnesotans nice?
No. No, not. It doesn't make the individually people are different, but as a group, I always say that you cannot predict what one individual will do, but you can predict with fairly good certainty what groups of people will do. Right?
Oh, that's an interesting view. Well, I mean, I think that New York has a bad reputation of our not being nice, but actually we're very nice people. We just don't want you to slow us down. But I mean, when I see people who are, I have a dog, so people figure anybody with a dog is going to be friendly, which is completely untrue. But, I get asked for directions or where's a good place to have breakfast. I mean, people just figure they can ask me because I'm obviously a friendly New Yorker. But, what pisses me off, and every New Yorker, is how people from Minnesota and wherever else do not know how to walk on our streets. So the tourists...
Hey, no. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that.
Tourists are looking up.
Well,
and they're taking pictures.
I actually had an experience like that, exactly like that, with somebody that we went to New York for a conference or something, and he was like right off the hate truck or something. It was like all the stereotypes he mentioned. It's like when we got out of the taxi, he was looking up at the buildings. I mean, you can't, if you're New York is a huge city, so it is pretty amazing when you look up the buildings. They just go on forever. So that's forgivable. But he also is like, you have to wear your wallet in your front pocket so people don't pick it. And he is freaking out about the taxi drivers driving. I'm like, this is my kind of driving. I'm an aggressive driver. So
we have some of the best drivers in the world here driving. I couldn't do their jobs. I'd be a murderer. Anyway, this week, is that past our good news?
Yes.
This week, the Wall Street Journal took a lot of flack for getting search wrong. In the end, the Wall Street Journal's report, this is a quote, the Wall Street Journal's report is an embarrassing piece of journalism and a missed opportunity that unfairly paints a black eye on Google search and the SEO community. That's from a tweet. This is an article in Search Engine Land by Barry Schwartz, and the subtitle of the journal story read, "The internet giant uses blacklists, algorithm tweaks, and an army of contractors to shape what you see." So this line alone showed a lack of understanding on how search works and why the journal report on Google got a lot wrong, is what Schwartz said. And Google's certainly not perfect, as he noted, but almost everything in the Wall Street Journal report was incorrect. So the headline on that story was "Misquoted and Misunderstood: Why Many in the Search Community Don't Believe the Wall Street Journal About Google Search." They're talking about how manipulative Google search is, and to a certain degree, they're correct,
Well, that article was complete trash. I mean,
Yeah,
it really was. It was exactly what Barry Schwartz was saying. It's a complete misunderstanding of how search works. And if they took, I mean, it appears that they had an agenda and they had a point of view that they wanted for the article. One of the things was the favoring of big corporate advertisers in search results over small businesses and stuff. And that's you can make that argument if coincidentally you happen to see big brands showing up all the time in your search results and not small businesses, but there's a reason for that. There's a lot of search factors that go into that. One is demand. There's a lot of people searching for those brands, so Google has data indicating that people want this particular company to show up. Coca-Cola will show up, or whatever, a big corporation will show up because there's a lot of people searching for that. There's a ton of different factors that go into search results, into what shows up in search results. And from the reading of the article, they clearly don't understand.
So Google came back in a blog post that is entitled "How We Keep Search Relevant and Useful," and explain basically how their algorithm works. So both of these are really interesting reading. But of course, the Wall Street Journal is behind a paywall, so we won't be able to let you read that.
Well, this one is quick and easy and kind of amazing. This is from Fast Company's Michael Grothaus. Tesla unveiled their Cybertruck on Thursday.
That was hilarious.
They had the unveiling, and apparently the Cybertruck, which looks like something out of the Halo video game. It has armor glass. This is shatterproof glass that they're touting for Tesla's new Cybertruck. So to demonstrate it, but Franz, one of the lead designers, out onto the stage to throw a metal ball at the window, and throw it he did, and it did smash the glass.
Live on national television.
And Elon Musk yelled out, "Oh my effing God." And then they, let's try it again. Let's try it on the rear view window, or rear room window. He threw it again, and again it smashed. And so it was. We'll put the video in the show notes, but it was completely awkward. And maybe you should do some product testing before you try and
before you launch it. Right. That's so funny. That really is not so shatterproof.
Yeah. And do you got another one?
No, I don't.
Okay, so one more quick one. I've got a couple of videos that I did a post on from a media artist named Kichi Matsuda. And they are about, one's called Hyper Reality and the other one's called Merger. And they are an imagination of our augmented future. So for hyperreality, everything, it's from the point of view of somebody who's a gig worker, and absolutely everything in the world is augmented. She's on a bus going to her job, and she's a gig worker, so she's going shopping for somebody. But everything, there's just notifications everywhere, and the whole experience of watching this video is really tense. It's like there's just everything's going on. And when she's in the shopping in grocery store, she's attacked. And so she contacts customer service, and they shut her down, reboot her program. And when they reboot, all of the stuff falls away from her vision. It's just a normal shopping, normal grocery store scene. And all of a sudden you feel the feeling that you get when that happens is calm. It's just an amazing experience. So we'll put that in the other one. The other one, Merger, is about basically a world in which corporations are run by algorithms. There are 5-minute long videos, I think, but really good picture of what our future may hold.
Sounds like Black Mirror episodes.
Yeah.
That show is so prescient. It really is. I mean, everything they do, you look at it while it's on, you go, oh my God, that's horrible. And then it happens. It's really frightening. So this next one you have, I did not know about this, Dave. Tell us.
Yeah, this just came up. So share this. The social media sharing plugin for websites has a list of the 50 best social media podcasts. And so we'll put a link to this in the show notes. Ad Age is in there. Seth Godin's podcast is in there. Hootsuite. And number 4, ours truly.
All right.
Listed. Yeah.
How cool is that? Yep. How did they determine that? Did they say?
I don't know. I just literally found it just before the show. So
that is so exciting.
Yeah.
Happy to hear that.
Oh.
Go ahead. You have another
one more.
One.
Yeah. So we last episode, was it last episode or 2 episodes ago? We talked about the coolest things. Coolest things of 2019. And one of mine was the marketing calendar for 2019. And I knew that they were going to be, the woman who put it together was going to be updating it. Well, she has updated it. I reached out on Twitter, and she said, boom, here you go. It's published. So it's ready. The holiday marketing calendar of 2020. BL, what month is it?
National Adoption Month?
No, you're supposed to say November.
Oh. It's November.
Yeah. No, it's National Adoption Month. It's National Diabetes Awareness Month. It's National Gratitude Month. It's National Healthy Skin Month. It's Peanut Butter Lovers Month. It's Gluten-Free Diet Awareness Month. So all of those are in the month of November. And with Anna Crow's of Search Engine Journal's 2020 holiday marketing calendar, you will be able to know when all of these months occur, or weeks or days occur, and be able to plan your marketing around them if you do that kind of thing. It comes in a Google Sheet format, or you can subscribe to a Google Calendar, so you can just have an overlay for your own Google Calendar, so you can have it right in there, which is very handy, and I do that. Her accompanying blog post also includes popular hashtags for each month, according to these marketing events or calendars or whatever.
That's a very cool thing that she does that. Her name is Anna Crow.
Correct.
Yeah, very cool. So I have one political thing that I didn't actually put it in the notes, but I should have. There was an article this morning in The Atlantic by John Hendrickson about Joe Biden's stuttering. And John Hendrickson himself is a stutterer. And so this article, which is a long read, explains that that Biden is being called out of touch and old and all this stuff. And a lot of it is he's trying to control his stuttering. And he's never talked about it before. And it's a disability. It's a serious disability. And he talks about how certain words are the hardest for him. He was accused of not being able to, not remembering Obama's name. He was having trouble pronouncing it. So he then said, my boss, because he couldn't. So you see him sometimes, he puts his eyes down, he actually touches his face. He's trying to control his speech. It's just a fascinating article, and he should have made that point a long time ago. I think people would root for him. I will, now that I know that. I mean, it's just such a well-written thing, though.
I saw that guy, the writer, interviewed today, and I did not know that about Biden. I have been critical about Biden during the
Me
debates, that
too.
he's just rambling, he's just going on and disjointed and all that, and this puts everything in context now.
It really does. And I think that if people know about it, they will
Yeah.
have compassion for him much
Yeah.
more than they did before. It's a very interesting thing that he sat for that. And apparently he had to refuse this interview many times. And then they decided that it was time for him to come out about it, you know?
Yeah.
Just really interesting.
Wow. So let's wrap this up. I have some numbers as usual. This is from Pew, which the demographics of smart speaker owners. So there's 1/4 of Americans, not including BL, who have smart speakers at home. And this is the percentage of US adults who say they have a voice-controlled smart speaker in their home. So 25% of US adults say that. 25%, roughly 25% of both men and women. 25% of white people, 19% of black people, and 26% of Hispanics have a smart speaker. This follows traditional technology adoption. So the younger you are, the higher income you are, the more education you have, the more urban you are, the more likely you are to have the latest technology. So again, 18 to 29-year-olds, 32%, 30 to 49-year-olds, 28%, compared to 19% for 50 to 64-year-olds and 19% for 65 plus. $75,000 household income and more, 34%, 30 to 75,000, 24%. College education, 30%, some college, 27%, high school or less, 19%, urban, 23%, suburban, 29%, rural, 18%. So that's kind of what you typically see with new technologies. Here's another one for you, though. 54% of smart speaker owners, at least occasionally, say please to their device, but it varies by gender. So women are more likely than men to say please to their smart speaker.
Okay. Well, someday I may join that crowd, but I'm holding out because I still don't trust it. I just don't trust it. You know, but I don't want to be talking about those newfangled things. Anyway, that brings us to the end of episode 290 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the number 4 most awarded marketing podcast. This is so cool. Find us by searching Beyond Social Media Show, and we are at beyondsocialmediashow.com. I'm here with David Erickson, the always charming, and he's on Twitter as D Erickson, Instagram as DE Erickson, YouTube as eStrategy, and he blogs at the really wonderful e-strategyblog.com. I'm BL Ochman. I blog at What's Next Blog. I'm on Twitter as What's Next, and YouTube is What's Next Blog. The show, again, beyondsocialmediashow.com, and on Twitter, we're BS Media Show. We're taking off next week because it's Thanksgiving, but we'll see you in December.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, turkey time.